In this conversation, I'm joined by Nikola, a young entrepreneur, speaker, and a founder of communication startup helping professionals speak with clarity and confidence. We talk about her journey from organizing 500-person event as a teenager to building a business that connects coaches with ambitious people looking to improve how they communicate. If you are a student, founder, or just someone trying to express yourself, this one is for you. Nikola, thank you very much for joining me today. I like to start from the questions that will give the people who are watching us a little bit knowledge about who you are. So if you can start from telling me what's your motivation in life?
That's a big question to introduce myself. I think it was always using my potential to the most because I feel like all of us have some sort of gifts and talents, and not all of us take the time to discover them and take the time to use them. And I feel it would be such a waste not to optimize the talent you have. And a lot of young people, I think, are in that trap.
Why do you think a lot of young people are in that trap? Like, why do you think people does not optimize themselves to become better, to actually use all of their capabilities, their talents, their possibilities and opportunities to reach whatever they can reach?
I think part of that is that people are not empowered by their environment. I was always supported by the people who were around me, my parents who believed in me and who gave me opportunities, even when I wasn't really pushing for them. And I was always encouraged to do whatever I feel like is best for me. And I could make my own decisions. So I think that was very empowering for me. And the other part is, as a young person now in the 21st century, it's so easy to choose the most comfortable route. And you start feeling, I met a lot of people in university who start feeling like they need to fit in a sort of form, a canvas, like everybody else is. And they feel like their strengths are actually their weaknesses because their strengths are not the same strengths you're supposed to have, ideally.
One of my favorite questions to everyone is, if they would be in power and have opportunity to change one thing in the world. So imagine you are a president of the world, right? And you have the power to change one thing. What would you change, Nikola?
I think my answer would be more like a sort of God, what God would do,
Okay.
or like a sort of like higher power. So
Okay.
I would say I would want people to be more shameless in what they're doing, because I feel like people get so scared and so they limit themselves by feeling like they need to either fit in with a sort of norm or like they're being looked at, they're being judged. And once you understand that everybody is so focused on other people judging them that they don't actually have the time to judge you, it's a big shift. So I feel like if more people got to be shameless, of course, not in a complete, way, but shamelessly resourceful and shameless about expressing themselves, I think we would get far further as a society.
So to go a little bit deeper into your background, can you tell us a little bit about your past and your life?
Yeah, so I was born in Poland in, I would say, small to mid-sized city, halfway between Krakow and Warsaw. And I think the key moment was first to seventh grade, or first eighth grade, then where I was in a really good school and I got so much values from there. And then I moved to high school, where I started working even more intensively on starting to produce little plays at school. And then I became the school president, class president. And on top of that, 2 months before my final exams, I organized a 500 people event, which was a first big event that I organized. And that was with a partnership with one of the biggest theater, actually the biggest theater in our town. When I was 17, I moved to university to study at Queen Mary University of London, and I studied business management. And being put in that international environment helped me learn so much about people and also about communication, actually. And from that point, I moved to Singapore for 6 months. And then I came back to university in UK. I finished last semester. It was super intense because it started with me getting into Founders Running Club in January. And I started working on my own business. I started signing up for all of these different initiatives that help me with the entrepreneurial journey. So very, very exciting time in my life.
So how would you encourage other young people to do the same?
It's actually a very interesting question because I thought about it a lot recently. I attended this event in Warsaw, which was a gala of a foundation that helps people from Poland move to other countries for university. So I think answering your question, the best way to encourage more people to get out of their country to get brilliant education, hopefully come back to build the country that they came from, would be showing the opportunity to more people in general. Just going to schools, I actually talked to the people in the foundation. I said, listen, why don't we go to schools and show it to the majority rather than having people come to the foundation who are already so good? And of course, they need your help, but there is the whole 80% who doesn't know about the opportunities they have. And from that 80%, I'm certain that there's at least 10% that could get as far as those people who know about the opportunities.
How all of that experiences got you to the sort of event space and communication space? Because you said before that you started, like you created that big event in the high school already, right?
Yeah.
How did you get to this point?
To be honest, like when I think about it, when I look at the measures, like, oh, it was this many people, and then there was another smaller one and another one. And when I tell someone about it, it looks completely different in their eyes than it looks in mine. Because to me, it's like I just met my friends. They told me about this idea. I told them, okay, I can make it for you. And then we went to talk to some nice, cool people who happened to be the like chiefs of the theater. And then they let us have the place for an entire night. And then we talked to some more people and they gave us cakes. And then we talked to some more people and they gave us printing. So in my eyes, it just looks as like another day in life.
Okay.
Yeah. So I honestly, I don't feel like on daily basis, I don't feel like the things that I'm doing are as big as they are. And it takes a lot of reflection to realize how far you've gotten from where you were.
Oh
So
yes, so many people does not appreciate the journey that they take and like how far they went through. But maybe because I'm listening how you're saying it, for not everyone is so easy to do all of those stuff, like go and talk to the really nice people who are head of X department in the theater. A lot of people will be like, no, I rather not, right? Or like go and talk to those people to ask for other stuff. A lot of people does not like to ask for help. I feel like this is a huge problem. So is there any way we can sort of tell people, ask for help if you need it, man?
first of all, yes, we can help people to learn to ask for help. And I think that's something that should be shown to kids at school. Because we were told, like, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Polish education, it's like, if you have to ask, it means you have a problem. And if you have a problem, it means you're in trouble. So it's better not to ask. I mean, I don't want to like put it as like such a bad thing, but that was my experience. And still, I really appreciate the education I got. And I think it was like a brilliant time for me to really flourish. And the principles that I learned were so important. And on the other hand, what you're saying that, oh, some people would be so scared and wouldn't want to do it. I think these people have brilliant things that they could do better. And I don't think we should try to necessarily fit them in certain places that they don't want to. So I think it's all about identifying your strengths and playing to them rather than comparing your weaknesses to other people's strengths.
So basically what you're saying, people should follow what they enjoy doing and what makes them smile and what brings them fun to life.
It's not that simple. I think they should identify their strengths and play to their strengths, but not necessarily go for the 100% I love it, I'll do it situation. Because I feel, especially in business, once you go to the I love it place, you will end up wanting to be a total perfectionist about your business, treating it like a baby and loving it so much that it will never bring profit back. Because you will do all of these steps that bring you from 80 to 100, but nobody sees that 20 because nobody can see you yet.
Interesting perspective. Very interesting perspective.
Especially for your first business, I think that's the case.
Where are you now? How you said that you're starting your own business. Can you tell us a little bit about what is it and what you're enjoying in it?
The business is called Compact, Communication with Impact, and we're empowering business professionals to communicate with more clarity, impact, and personal power. So the whole point is I'll be connecting coaches who are in my sort of library with business professionals or teams who want to improve their communication for various reasons. It can be anything from negotiation to pitching to getting your team more connected. So I think that the underlying assumption is communication is overlooked, but it really impacts your performance on a daily basis. And I believe communication is the 20 that makes for 80% of the performance. Because, for example, if you're a brilliant technical person and you have this great invention, but you don't go out with it and you're not able to translate it to a language of your investors or the people who are to buy from you, you won't get far in business, even if you have the most brilliant idea, unless you hire a CEO because you're the CTO. I think that's bringing a sort of 50-50 systematic approach and 50-50 soft skills approach, what I want to do, will help to connect both the people who are very technical and they need to realize the importance of communication and have it more structured, but also the people who know what the problem is and what they want to change, and that it's a soft skill, so it needs to be taught soft.
So you said a little bit about how your business really operates. So what are you guys doing? A review of the person and then provide them with the feedback. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the process?
So we're starting with a sort of introduction call, which will be with me, and I will talk to you about your goals and what you want to do with your communication and what do you want to achieve and what do you struggle with. So it will be sort of like a pre-selection, I could say.
Okay.
And based on that, we'll outline what your needs are. And the key thing is that you will get matched with a coach whose strengths will help you and that your strengths help them and your weaknesses work with their strengths so that you guys can work together in the best way possible. So I think having someone to choose from a base of coaches for you, knowing the coach's specializations and knowing your needs will bring so much more impact back to you than when you just are like, okay, I struggle with public speaking. Let me find the most random public speaking coach. And thanks to me knowing the coaches personally and getting to know you over a short call, I'll be able to sort of fit the two of you together.
Okay. And so how that process later looks like?
So then you get to go on a sort of test call with the coach. That also outline your goals beforehand. So you get a list of the goals beforehand and the list of approaches that you'll have over the 6 weeks. And then you meet with them for 6 weeks for one session a week. And every week you get a new report about what you did this week. And well, that's pretty much it. After 6 weeks, you should be a better communicator. And I'm certain you will be.
6 weeks, it's like, what, month and a half, right?
Based on the talks that I had with the coaches and their experiences so far, this is like a time where you can achieve good results. And another thing is, I really believe that if you have a limited time, you'll be able to achieve better results because you know that it's just 6 weeks and it's one thing that you paid for. So you really have to push for that time. And it's not a never-ending story of being coached for years and years and looking back and being like, okay, it's the same coach, the same thing, the same session. So I think because it's a sort of sprint, but an effective sprint because it's long enough to be effective, I think that's the perfect timing for you to really achieve the results that are visible and that are measurable.
Where was that point in life where you realized that the communication skills are extremely important?
I think I took a lot of different courses in university, and that's sort of what showed me how much is there to learn about communication. Because I understood that communication is important. It was something that came to me easily, so I didn't maybe realize that it can be a problem for some people and how big of a problem it can be. And also learning it in a more systematic way, how we do in university, helped me understand that it can be taught and it can be improved because my own communication improved a lot.
What would you say from your perspective is one of the most important things in communication?
I believe simplicity and being able to share your message in multiple ways from extremely simple to the full version that you know deep in your heart. So, because if you know something very well, if you live it, you want to tell the entire 45-minute story about how amazing it is and all of the little details, and nobody understands you and nobody is interested in that. Yeah. And people are looking at you like, okay, let's move on from that person because I can't handle that anymore. Yeah. And if you're able to tell it in very simple terms and get people hooked on what you want to say, and then you have a little bit of a longer version, and then you have the longest version, which tells your entire heart out.
And then you get questions as well about all of the stuff that you say, so you can continue and expand. And yeah.
If you keep it simple and leave the door open to questions, your audience will guide you where they want to go and which part is the most interesting for them. And I think this can lead to very groundbreaking moments for you as an entrepreneur or as any kind of person who has some sorts of ideas to pitch or to tell. If you get to see what people are most interested in what you do, and you can change your mind based on that. So because most businesses pivot like 4 times before they are successful. I think most startups, that's like the statistics. So based on the feedback you get in conversations, you can change so many like tiny things about what you're doing to make it more impactful in general. So I think based on conversations, you can gain a lot for your business and for your life in general.
So following that, what do you think is the biggest problem of young people who are maybe running their, first business, or they just trying to start out in terms of like communicating it? What mistakes they are making? What do you see?
So in the last weeks, I talked to people all from I struggle to talk in front of the camera and I want to learn how to write a better sort of speech to talk in front of the camera. The second one was I struggle to negotiate with my clients to make their prices higher because if they get their prices up, I will get more commission. How do I do that? How do I communicate with them? I've talked to a person who said, I'm very chill about pitching. I'm not stressed when I'm doing, but I kind of stress out beforehand. And even though it's not high stakes, I feel pressured and I think about it far too much for how easy a thing it is. So I think there's multiple problems to be discovered in communication, and it's very personal. That's why I think individualized coaching works far better than a cookie cutter approach of a course that you repeat with every single person and user.
Is there anything in the communication industry that people accept as they are, and they done this way for long time, but those assumptions are worth questioning? Can you question them, or you would like to change them?
So I think there is this sort of phenomenon that you see people who are speakers be very strong and almost pushy, especially men, in the motivational spectrum. And I think it creates this misconception that you have to be so straight out impactful and powerful to be a good speaker. Whereas the soft power can be so impactful on your audience and it can create a better relationship. It can create a lot of closure. It can create a lot of empathy. I talked to this one girl who I pitched together with. So we were partners in pitching on a university sort of entrepreneurial boot camp. And she came to me after the pitching and she said, Nikola, you're such a brilliant speaker. You're so impactful. You're so energetic. You're so strong. And I'm like, yes, but a lot of people find it intimidating. And you are this brilliant speaker. You don't have to try to copy my style because you are so soft and so delicate in what you do that you captivate the audience and you welcome them to you, maybe even more than I do. So I think it's all about identifying your strengths and moving into them rather than trying to copycat this one sort of speaker type. And I think the very strong, motivational, masculine style is one of the misconceptions that is repeated a lot. And it's not just this one way of being a motivational speaker.
So what's your focus now in your business?
Now the key thing for the 2 months of summers that I have left to just chill and do whatever I want is finding a sustainable solution that I can easily repeat to find new clients incoming.
So do you have a grand vision for that business, or is it just, let's see what happened in the next year?
Definitely, it's not like I want to die with this business. Like I want to have it for 80 years from now and, like pass it on to my children. I see it more as an opportunity to show myself to build myself a legacy and show myself as a sort of key person of influence in the communication speaking space. And with the hopeful, more long-term vision of becoming a speaker and just traveling the world and having a keynote speaker job.
What would you say to all of those young people who are going or thinking of going to university now? They're in, in early days of thinking about their lives. What would you tell them now?
I would say put yourself in the best places possible. Push very hard on what you really want, but understand that there is a lot of ways to pivot. And while you identify what you really want, the other things will fall into the right place.
Nikola, thank you very much for joining me today. It was a true pleasure. And I think I learned 1 or 2 things from you actually, which is extremely nice. Yeah. So thank you for joining. And I hope when we meet in like next 6 months, your business gonna, be whatever you want it to be, or maybe it will be closed because maybe you decide to pursue something other ventures, But yeah, thank you very much.